An MSNBC host, Chris Jansing, got mad at the Democrats here for something they decided to do yesterday. So that's a good thing, right? I mean, we are always mad at MSNBC for being too subservient and loyal to the Democrats, regardless of what the Democrats are pushing for. So let's see. Why did she go after them? Was it because they're not pushing free college, or they're not pushing Medicare for all, or they're supporting wars, or what is it? Let's watch.
Wanted to transmit. I said, why don't maybe we should go over to the Russian embassy to do that. It's so jaw-droppingly inappropriate if you've been in government. And maybe he's just naive, but I don't know. He's not that naive, is he? And Michael Flynn was in the room, who had been director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. I think that early December discussion people will be interested to get a little more detail about that.
I'm out of time, but I have to ask you, what do you make of Democrats? While they know all of this is happening, they say they have this big message that they need to get out there on the economy. They're going to unveil this, and they're doing it at the same time they know that Jared Kushner is going to be walking the microphone.
Well, Chris, we have to get to the bottom of this Russia scandal. There is obviously
You're not
smoke.
Answering my question.
No,
Democratic strategy.
I am getting there, but there is obviously smoke, and I think we see the first sign of flames. The point, though, is that Democrats have to continue to work for the American people. They can't put their agenda on hold just because this administration is enmeshed in this Russia mess. They need to continue doing the work that Americans elected them to do.
Although maybe they could have done it for an hour or two and gotten a little more airtime. But anyway.
MSNBC hosts are so out of touch that they make the Democrats look like they're in touch. You get what her argument is there, right? She's saying, I don't know why the Democrats are out there talking about jobs and the economy when Jared Kushner is giving a speech and talking about Russia. I mean, hello, Democrats. Obviously, the country is waiting on every word of Jared Kushner. Okay, these guys are so deep in that Washington bubble, they can't see straight. Like somebody said on Twitter the other day, I forget who it was, but when Jared Kushner was giving his little, talk on Russia, he introduced himself. He said, hello, I'm Jared Kushner. And then he went on to, talk about what he was going to talk about. And somebody on Twitter was like, dude, we know who you are. And I think it was Michael Tracy was like, are you really that myopic that you don't realize that most Americans don't know who Jared Kushner is? Like, do you not, they think everybody follows politics in the same way that they do, which is like MSNBC hosts and all these establishment insiders in the corporate media and among the corporate Democrats, they look at politics like it's a reality show. Or like it's like The West Wing, like a regular TV show. And they look like, ooh, who's the new player? Ooh, Anthony Scaramucci was just hired as the new White House communications director. And ooh, he says scandalous things from time to time. And ooh, is Jared Kushner talking about Russia? And oh, maybe Vladimir Putin is behind him giving this speech. Oh. They think like, well, obviously the Democrats should take all their time to talk about Jared Kushner and Russia. How out of touch are you? When she literally got mad at the Democrats for doing the one decent thing they've done in forever, which is, oh, let's give a press conference and talk about jobs and the economy and our economic vision and unroll our new platform, basically. Now, the Democratic platform was good in some parts, bad in other parts. I mean, it omitted Medicare for all and free college and things that are non-negotiable that should be the heart of what they're pushing for. But there were some good antitrust things in there, and there were some good, prescription drug negotiation ideas in there and stuff like that. So, but the Democrats are actually focusing. This is a rare instance where the Democrats are focusing on real issues, and MSNBC is like, why wouldn't you talk about Russia? Kushner's talking about Russia and Russia. If the corporate Democrats and the corporate media get their way and they steer the Democratic Party in whatever direction they want, the Democrats would lose every election from here on out. Even with as bad as the Republicans are, the Democrats would keep losing. Because nobody cares, man. Nobody cares. No regular person is sitting around going, fucking Kremlin. Ah, the goddamn Kremlin. That's why I have a hard time keeping these lights on. Nobody's doing that. Now, you might say, well, Kyle, you're too much in your own bubble here. Really? Take a look at this chart. This is from Bloomberg, a Bloomberg poll. What issues matter? Healthcare, 35%. Jobs, 13%. Terrorism, 11%. Immigration, 10%. Global warming, 10%. Russia, at the very bottom, 6%. Don't tell me that your establishment insider wisdom is real, because it's not. It's only you in your bubble with your fellow politicos at MSNBC where you drink your fucking chai tea and you're like, let's talk more about Russia. It's only you guys that really care about that shit. Everybody else is worried about paying the medical bills. Everybody else is worried about how they're going to get rid of that college debt. Everybody's worried about getting a better paying job that has better benefits because they don't get any goddamn vacation time right now and they're underpaid and they're overworked. Everybody's worried about real shit. And MSNBC hosts, the media is supposed to hold politicians accountable. Instead of holding politicians accountable and saying, hey, you know what? The Democrats, they're talking about jobs today. Where were they for the past, I don't know, 3 years? Where were they talking about Medicare for all? Where were they talking about free college? Where were they talking about ending the drug war? Where were they talking about the wars? All this time they didn't do any of it. Now, finally, they come around to talking about real shit? Instead of saying that, what's her take? These Democrats. You know, they should really not talk about jobs and the economy and talk about Russia and Jared fucking Kushner more. By the way, did you notice Jared Kushner? We're on, what, our 6th, 7th story of the day or something now? Jared Kushner, I didn't even talk about Jared Kushner's speech. Because what the fuck am I going to say? Jared Kushner, a douchebag who looks like he's never shaved in his life, who's a product of nepotism, and he's, you know, Trump's son-in-law, he gave a speech where he said, I didn't collude with Russia. Okay, what am I going to do? Can I say, maybe you did? Democrats, why don't you go out there and say, maybe he did collude with Russia? Rust Belt voters are really waiting on every fucking word of Jared Kushner and your response to it. Shoot me in the head with how out of touch people are.